not ending it there. We have to continue from where we last left off on our last episode with Connor's Conspiracy Corner.
Now, where did we end last time? Donald Marshall today?
Last time we were on the podcast, we talked about Donald Marshall. We talked about the clone zone, as we called it.
It was the clone zone.
It was the clone zone. We introduced everybody to the clone zone. We introduced everybody to the idea of human cloning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was in Donald Marshall's own words, who is, and of himself, a clone. And we briefly touched on where Don is now.
Not to mention music he wrote.
The music Don wrote.
Including one of your favorite songs, Somebody That I Used to Know.
Somebody That I Used to Know by Goatye.
That's right.
The talented Don Marshall.
And Duck Sauce.
Right.
Yeah, it's Goatsy, right?
Goatsy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But anyway, we promised, and we're going to touch on it this week, to talk about the Vril Society. So, Connor, take it away as best you can, bud.
Okay, so I'm just going to preface this by saying a lot of it is complete and it's just an incoherent mess. But
really,
from not unlike the stuff we read last week, but we're going to start out now. We're going to go back up a little bit. Now, the Vril Society have been something that have been around since this guy. His name, what's his full name? I know his last name is
Adolf Hitler.
No. The guy that wrote the book.
Oh,
well, I know his last name is Bulward Lytton. I don't know his
I'll
first
look it up
name,
while you continue.
He wrote a book called in 1871 called Vril: The Power of the Coming Race.
Edward.
Mm-hmm. Edward. All right, so Eddie
Our
wrote
buddy
this
Eddie.
book.
Good old Eddie.
1871.
Eddie wrote this book in 1871 about a master race of beings who called himself the Vril Ya. VRIL dash.
Yeah.
Vril Ya.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the book, and then we're going to go back a little bit, forward a little bit in time. They call themselves the Vril Ya, and they claim to be descendants of inhabitants of ancient Atlantis. And they have access to an extraordinary force, a sort of super energy called Vril. Just simply Vril.
Hang on, though.
Yeah.
If their ancestors were... Where have they been since then?
Underwater.
They've been
Atlantis.
hanging out underwater in
I guess
Atlantis?
so.
The Lost City.
Cool. Okay.
Get with it.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
The truth is they haven't been anywhere because they're not real, but that's just for the sake of the podcast.
Okay.
Like I said, they claim to be descendants of Atlantis, and they have this access to this extraordinary force called Vril, which is essentially an unlimited source of energy that supplies all of their needs and anything like that. And I have another quote about it real fast. Let me see if I accidentally closed the tab or not. Okay, so this very, very reputable source, it's actually just Crystallinks. Crystallinks.com, not even Crystal Links.
All right.
Krista.
It's all one word.
Crystal
Links.
Yeah.
Crystal.
It's like Crystal. Oh, maybe it's Crystal Inks.
Crystal Inks.
Crystal
Yeah,
Inks.
there you go. Okay,
Okay.
Crystallinks.com. It says their source of power was the black sun, an infinite beam of light, which, though invisible to the human eye, exists in antimatter. So their emblem became the black sun, okay, the Vril.
Okay.
And these beings, let me bounce back to that other ones. There's a guy that we're all familiar of.
What's his name?
His name's Adolf Hitler. And we're going to go a little bit forward in time from when this book was published. That book was published in 1871. This takes us up to post-war World War I, post-war Germany. It's about 1923. Hitler is named new leader of the new Nazi party.
Mm-hmm.
And he attempts to overthrow the federal government. Look at that, man.
I threw up a good picture.
Nazi UFOs are
We got
big.
Hitler.
Are big
Display
within
that.
this. I
a
think.
picture of a Nazi UFO
And a blueprint.
and a
in the
blueprint for a
background.
Nazi UFO that I found while looking up Donald Marshall.
Nicknamed
and the
what
Vril
Bob
Society.
Lazar called it, sport mode.
What?
Sport
Bob Lazar,
mode.
the Area 51 guy, nicknamed the UFO that he found there sport mode or something
Sport
like
All
that.
right.
mode.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry
a
to throw that off.
Okay.
That's a
Sorry to
Okay.
throw that off.
Back to
basically-
Hitler.
Hitler, he tried to overthrow the federal government and he was arrested for treason, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was awaiting trial in this prison and he read the book that we mentioned, Vril, The Power of the Coming Races. Now,
That's true, right? Like that's,
I mean,
as far as we know, that's
I assume
maybe
so.
true.
That
I
happened.
haven't done much work to verify that.
Okay.
But I have done a little bit, and from what I see, there are several articles written about how he at least read that book
Okay.
and attempted to act on it. So now this claims that he He would send once he read that book, he believed it to be true, and then he was made Chancellor of Germany, right?
Yep.
He would send teams of spelunkers into caves and mines all over
Like
Europe.
that movie, The Descent.
Yeah. Classic. Oh, maybe those are the Vril.
Those might be the Vril. They are lizard people. Did you mention that?
We're getting there.
Oh,
We're getting
shit.
there.
Fuck.
Slow,
You
slow your
spoiled the
roll.
entire
Fuck.
podcast.
Sorry.
Slow your roll.
Okay, so he sends these spelunkers into caves and mines, right? He's looking for the Vrilia. He sends expeditions to Asia, specifically Tibet. Nazi explorers, they make tons of these. They basically are building up some friendships with the lamas there. Not animal llamas, as was brought to my attention earlier.
Like the Dalai Lama.
Yeah,
Like the
one L,
Buddhist
one L.
llamas.
Which I
The
did not, like I
llamas.
said, I did not know they were
Yep.
called the llamas.
I didn't
Yep.
actually either till Paige informed us. earlier.
So they supposedly had expert knowledge of underground caves and tunnel systems and all of that in the area and just around the world, I suppose. And they guarded, supposedly, the legend has it, is that they guarded a secret entrance to the inner world, they called it. No, and the entrance itself was called the Red Door. And there's a lot of strange words here. The Red Door, hidden within the Potala Palace in the mountain city of Lhasa. Once
Okay.
and then after that, a Nazi-Tibetan alliance was formed, and they kept searching for all of these areas.
Did
right?
that happen? Did that happen historically?
Sure.
Did Tibet and the Nazis have a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. The
okay.
llamas. The llamas said, "We agree to share
Okay.
all of this knowledge with you that we've attained over several centuries, right?" And it just so happens that the llamas were hiding an indigenous race of lizard.
Okay. Okay.
Let's just roll with it, right?
Like,
Okay.
and can you describe these indigenous race of lizards?
An indigenous race of lizard.
Human-like?
That's how I would describe
Would
them.
you describe them as humanoid lizards?
I would describe them as an indigenous race of lizard.
Okay, fair.
'Cause
Okay.
That's all the information I can
Okay.
actually find on it.
Okay. Fair enough.
So these lizards have been living deep within the planet since prehistoric times, they say.
How do they know? Are there prehistoric cave paintings?
Hey, there might be, actually.
Mhm.
Now, these lizards were named the Vril Lizards, okay?
Did they call themselves that? Can
After
they?
Vril,
Can
yeah.
they speak?
They can do a lot of things, I
Okay.
think. So we might be starting to learn more. And I think Dan's right that they might be humanoid lizards
Okay.
because it says...
How else are they going to call themselves anything?
Exactly.
Just
I'm
for
picturing-
comparison, they're basically what are they? Lizard people.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
was
What are
picturing
they
Argonians.
Argonians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're basically they're same
Don't
thing, same
imagine like
concept.
a leopard gecko or something that says...
talks.
Except
I'm
I'm
the
pretty sure
Vril.
Donald Marshall specifies many times that they are not aliens.
Yeah.
They are native to the land. Like
Yeah.
they have been here
Okay.
since before time.
Prehistoric
Yeah.
times.
Yes.
Which I want. How
And
do
they
you
live-
know that?
Well, because Don's
they're
in
The
dinosaur
llamas.
people.
Are they
It's-
finding prehistoric lizard tools?
It's the llamas. You just have to trust them. Now these Vril Lizards, they knew the location of an abandoned military base, right?
Mm-hmm.
From the time of Atlantis.
Okay.
It, unfortunately.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they knew of a military
Who's they
base.
knew of a military
The Vril
base
Lizards.
from the
The
time
Vril
of
Lizards.
Atlantis.
I thought you just called them villagers, which I
No,
really
no.
like,
The
and I want to call them.
villagers.
You
Yeah.
can call them that if you
So
want.
the villagers.
So the villagers.
So the villagers that lived underground and were hanging out with the llamas and everything, they knew about an abandoned military base near Atlanta. Or I'm sorry, not near Atlanta.
Georgia?
Not near Atlanta from the time of Atlantis.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
That makes more sense.
This military base was filled with ancient aircraft, weaponry, and technology hidden within the tunnels and caves of Antarctica.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Obviously.
these lizard people, I guess, the villagers,
the villagers.
they traveled underground from Tibet to Antarctica.
Who
guess.
I assume are cold-blooded if they're lizards.
must be,
How are they
sure.
chilling in Antarctica?
Who
Like,
knows? Now,
Aren't all lizards cold-blooded or no?
yeah, I thought
Yeah.
so.
Mhm.
Hot
Yeah.
springs. They're bathing all day.
Yeah, it must be
But like, why?
like the
Antarctica?
Palicos and Monster Hunter. That's what that reminds me of. Okay, so these lizards say we have no use for this tech. We're happy living underground here with you llamas and everything. We don't need this.
We got our
So they
bros.
said we will trade all of this abandoned ancient technology for something that they really, really wanted.
What do they really, really want?
human flesh.
Why?
Oh, I was gonna
Tasty.
guess children.
The lizards.
For jerky?
I wasn't too
the
far
lizards. yeah.
For
So-
what are they called?
What?
So the lizard leaders, they
Full
have a
penises?
Dick
jerky.
jerky.
They have a
Oh,
jerky
pizzles?
factory.
Pizzles.
For some pizzles?
Yeah.
Yeah, they needed some fresh human pizzle.
That's hot.
Oh.
Okay, but no.
Honestly,
seriously.
I heard it's a tasty
The lizards
pizzle.
were
Tastes like pork
carnivorous
pizzle.
and they preferred human flesh, so they ate human flesh, right?
Okay.
So a deal was made. The Nazis got this Atlantean tech and sold out the human race naturally.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now we're gonna jump a little bit further ahead, not to any specific time.
The year is 1979.
Okay, so now let's back up to our friend that we met last podcast, Donald Marshall, right?
Donnie, what's up, Donnie?
I hope he's doing.
Missed
good
you,
out
buddy.
there. Haven't
He is
checked his
not
Twitter
doing
yet.
good.
Have you checked his Twitter?
I'll look
since-
up his
okay.
Twitter. We'll give some Donnie
Oh.
Marshall updates
So
at the end.
See
once
how
again,
he's doing.
satirical. That's on our end. The
So
police
where-
and
so where-
ambulances are not chasing you, by the way.
No. So where are the villagers after
So
World War II?
according to Donnie Marshall,
Mm-hmm.
Donnie.
this is not the first time that the Vril Lizards have interacted with humans, okay? He claims that for centuries, not just back to the 20s, but for centuries, royalty and powerful heads of state and trusted religious leaders around the world will have kept secret a pact with these malevolent lizards. he
To feed
calls
them people
Yes.
in exchange for tech?
So-
Human flesh.
This is where it comes into play with the clone zone that we covered. Okay? He says that world leaders would receive valuable resources buried deep within the planet, such as gemstones, golds, other material, stuff like that. In exchange, these leaders would conceal all evidence of the Vril from the surface population. So we
Right.
would have no idea that they ever
Mhm,
existed.
mhm.
Okay? And because they were helping them hide, the Vril Lizards, they still needed a supply of, like, they were giving, the Vril Lizard said, we'll give you all this shit, right?
You just give us
all you have
people.
to do is hide us and give us people
To eat.
Okay.
to eat. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So he says, keeping the Vril hidden, it kind of leads into something here.
Hmm.
They're a parasitic race. Okay. So they have the unique biological ability to invade a human body.
What?
In what way do you mean invade? Like,
Think about, have you seen those videos of like the snails' brains that are being
yeah.
that are taken over by a parasite and then
Yeah.
they're controlled?
But the parasite is like significantly small. Do these things like crawl up your butthole? Like how do
Or
they
your
get
dick
there.
hole,
into
or
Don't
your
worry.
urethra.
How big are they?
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get there. I do have something about that.
They're like nematode sized? Like
Are we talking parasect giant mushroom on my head? Like,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe, maybe it could be like that.
Okay.
Now, where was I again? They have this. They can take over the body and the brain and access our memories.
Mhm.
Okay.
You know,
course.
like parasites do.
Yeah,
course.
and so
Mhm.
because of that, they can control and basically, essentially, become us. They are us.
Hmm.
After a period of recovery, though, I guess from my understanding, whatever the lizard does, the lizard man, the lizard boy, he can go dormant within the brain, so you can regain full control. But then at certain times, he can take it over again. It's kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The film?
Yes.
The
short-
real life event.
The short 2007 film.
Oh, the invasion?
It's on Vimeo.
Okay.
Oh, I just made that up.
There's a
so-
lot of versions of Invasion.
Is there
of the Body
really?
Snatchers,
No.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, now the scary thing is that according to Donald Marshall, we've already been invaded a very, very
Oh,
long time ago.
fuck. How long ago?
So at least since the 1956 sci-fi classic, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
fair.
okay. Okay.
No, it's longer than that. So they have a biological drive, as I said, to invade and dominate and take over pretty much.
Eat our flesh.
And
Hmm.
he says that these Vril Lizards have been teaming up with the Illuminati.
Right,
So
of
now
course.
Makes
We learned
sense.
last week a little bit about the
a
Illuminati.
little
but
bit about the Illuminati and their cloning.
the
centers.
Illuminati is, in this sense, in this cloning and body snatching sense,
Mhm,
they've
mhm.
teamed up with the Vril Lizards and
Yep.
supposedly the Scientologists
Yep.
as well.
Oh, that's right. I
okay?
forgot they were thrown
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
mix.
yeah.
Scientologists are in this as well, yeah.
Makes sense.
So now
All right.
these Vril Lizards have been body snatching people at varying degrees of power all over the world and holding these positions as their own, which is how we've come to the great theory that we are being led by lizard overlords. Lizard
Wait, so
people
there's
overlords.
both lizard people and clones walking around?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
tie in. They
Both.
tie in
Are you
together.
going to get to
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're working.
These do relate.
I'm giving
Okay.
The
all
Vril
I'm
Society
giving
and the
whole
clones
story.
are completely related.
So these Vril Lizards can body snatch, and that's just a separate part of all the clones.
And can you describe body snatching to us?
Yeah, I actually have it right here. Okay.
Okay.
So, according to Donald Marshall, once again,
Yeah.
the
Solid source.
the source to end all sources.
Yep.
We don't need anybody else. Vril Lizards, I'm going to read this word for word because it is very strange. Vril Lizards have a natural proboscis.
Yep.
Is that how that's pronounced?
Yes, sir.
At the top of their head, from which they eject a thick type of
Oh, gross.
cerebrospinal fluid. When this fluid enters the human, usually through the eye, and from there to
What?
the brain,
That's hot.
a chemical transformation immediately begins to take place. The victim essentially dies, leaving the lizard parasite in complete control of all brain function.
Worst facial ever.
Real.
After a period of recovery, the Vril host can return to its regular activities, looking and acting and seeming completely normal. So he takes over through some...
So it like jizzes in your eye and takes
Essentially.
over.
Essentially,
You
yeah.
die.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's terrible.
So the
Well, that
Illuminati,
sounds
they
awful.
have special body snatching ceremonies to celebrate these lizard body snatching
Yeah.
events.
Okay.
Guests watch as the victim
What kind
conscious.
of guests?
You know, Illuminati guests.
Celebrities.
Yeah.
And top
Jay-Z's
ranking
definitely there.
ranking lizard
Yeah.
officials.
Beyonce's hanging out in the
Mhm.
background.
Yeah.
Raptor
They have-
Jesus.
All of the
Obviously.
leopard geckos are just hanging out in the
Yeah.
back. The guests watch as the victim, conscious, though usually bound, is restrained and forced to sit still until the lizard transfer is complete.
Oh no.
Donald Marshall has seen this happen
Firsthand. He's seen a lot.
several times.
Shit. Don Marsh, why aren't you doing anything?
Well, you know, that's what he's doing now.
You could have stopped all that lizard jizz
He could
going
have.
on.
He could have. So basically, the Illuminati they harness this ability of the Vril Lizards in order to further their own sort of dark
Whatever
plans, their
their-
agenda,
Mhm.
whatever they have going
Which Don
on,
doesn't
right?
really specify. Ever.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
they're just trying to get in control of as many things as possible
to have
in the
our
world, I
memories.
believe. Yeah,
Okay.
and to have our memories.
Okay.
So, with all of this, it's very important to understand Vril psychology, basically, okay? So,
Okay.
all Vril lizards want to be human.
Well, who
Okay.
doesn't?
Yeah.
Fair.
They realize, shit, we suck.
We're a
We want to
bad
be
species.
human. So
Do you
we
think
can
people don't like us because we
not
keep
live in the
jizzing
dirt.
in their eyes?
maybe. So they admire the human intelligence and the beautiful human form that we have, which
We have
leads me
some
to believe that
sexy
they might be
bodies.
disgusting.
Yeah.
They're
what do
lizard
they look
people.
They're
like?
Yeah,
Argonians,
yeah.
but there is that lusty maid, you know.
Ooh.
A
Yeah.
lusty Argonian maid. So, like I said, they admire human intelligence and the beautiful human form.
Yeah, dude, titties
They
are
don't
nice.
want to live underground anymore. Okay,
Okay.
they're tired of living
Why don't-
underground.
Why don't they just live up here and not take over?
That's the thing. If you saw lizard people crawl out of the ground in your backyard, would you accept them?
I would step
I mean,
on
maybe
them as quick
after
as
I
possible.
talk to them.
Well, I guess how big are they? We
I
gotta
mean,
determine that.
honestly, I imagine the average lizard person's like 5'3".
That's a good height.
We might know a few
Dude,
of those.
Shit.
But if they're
No
lizard
one.
people, how long are they?
Yeah. What if they're like real
That's
long?
Do you think they have tails?
If you step on the tail, does it pop off and does it regrow later?
Only if you grab it.
Makes sense. Okay. Okay.
Now, we're gonna skip forward just a little bit.
Year's 2048.
No, 1940 actually,
Oh.
or 1940s, I should say.
Okay.
As I've said, these lizards have been underground this whole time, right? Dark caves and tunnels, hanging out with the llamas
Mhm.
in Tibet
Of course.
and the Nazis also. Apparently, some royal families kept Vril lizards as pets. By the way,
Wait, what? They seem
Yeah.
like intelligent beings.
yeah. Well, I mean, so are pigs.
Dolphins.
Royalty
And
hasn't
dolphins.
exactly been known for being good to
Yeah,
things
yeah. So
throughout history.
So let's
Very
jump
fair.
forward. The 1940s, the Nazis had agreed on a secret pact forged between them and the lizards, making them essentially allies. Okay.
hmm
I have actually something to elaborate on this.
Yeah.
I was actually reading while you were looking some of this up, and apparently the David Bowie song "The Man Who Sold the World"
Oh shit.
is about this exact.
You're
Really?
You're kidding.
No, David Bowie knew about it.
Did Donald Marshall write it?
Donald Marshall probably wrote it. Yeah. No, I don't know if David Bowie, let me clarify. I don't know if David Bowie wrote The Man Who Sold the World as a reference to this, but at least Donald Marshall claims that The Man Who Sold the World is about this. Let me clarify.
Got you. That makes so much more sense.
I feel like my brain's gonna leak out of my ears, you guys.
It probably already has been, to be honest. So, as I was saying, the Nazis and the lizard people,
Right.
they formed this pack, right?
With the
This
llamas.
pact, yeah, with the llamas
With the
and
llamas.
and the Nazis and the lizards.
Okay.
It required directing basically tremendous resources to assist these lizard people,
Mhm.
including building of military bases underground, and the lizards would use these to basically interact with humans, at least humans that they were friends with, Nazi
And not
humans.
eat them.
Yeah,
jizz in
and
their
so
eye.
it would allow them. It would allow them. That's how they set up these massive, basically government-sponsored body snatching events to happen. So, from there, we got to ask a question real fast. We'll take a side note. Why
Pivot
wouldn't
and divot.
anybody? If it's truly been that long, why wouldn't anybody try to stop it?
Yeah.
Why wait until now?
Yeah.
Right. Why is Donnie doing it now?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
isn't it? Why is Donnie the only one?
Yeah.
Right.
So, what do you think?
We're all actually lizard people already.
No, I think
Huh?
the clones are taking them out. Or no, I'm sorry, the Vril's taking them out and replacing them with clones. That's my theory. What you got, Keg?
Dude, I can't get past the lizard jizz.
It is hard to move on from. So, why have clones if you're just gonna have these lizard people take over the people anyway? And
Wait,
have
I don't
them
even
go
know if
out
I'm right.
again?
What?
I just said that.
Well, Don Marsh says there's clones,
Right.
but there's also lizard
It's
people
just-
inhabiting people. Like,
It's not so much that
nematodes?
the clones and the lizard people are like, I don't know how to word it, but like, they're not the means to the same end. I guess they are. Like, they're just different forms of trying to accomplish
The same
essentially
goal.
world dominance. So
Right.
it's like they have different segments.
but the
right?
Vrils have nothing to do with the clones. They
They
didn't
do.
create
They
them.
do in the sense that they're all involved with the Illuminati.
And the
Okay.
Illuminati is
Vril
responsible for
the
the
Vril
clones.
Lizards have become
Why
more
doesn't-
sort of like
Why don't the Vril
allies to
lizards
them.
take over the Illuminati if they're so powerful?
they totally could.
Why don't they?
Because they respect humans.
Somebody's got something.
Because humans have beautiful bodies, and you really think they're going to destroy Beyonce's body?
Yeah, maybe that's why.
They're gonna take it over, not
Now there
destroy
was
it.
something that we mentioned last week about how the Vril had that ability to. That's how they did the REM cloning.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wasn't there something about that we were talking about? Do you remember what that was?
I don't. The REM memories is what they would use for the cloning.
I thought that they had gained it through a Vril ability, but now that I thought that, I can't find anything about it.
Uh-huh.
But I could have just been making
It's crazy.
that up
It's
in
almost
my
like it's
head.
not true.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Anyway, so let's jump forward a little bit, okay?
Okay.
All right, past the Nazis.
I have a photo. I wonder if I could find it. If you could find it, maybe Google it while I'm talking about it and see if you can find it. Salvador Dali, the Spanish surrealist painter, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
He had a photo he released in the 1950s with an unknown creature in the background of it, right?
Is it just his pet anteater?
It doesn't look like a pet anteater.
Dude,
Okay.
it could just be a sculpture.
It
Yeah, it's Salvador fucking Dali.
spoiler alert, it's most likely a sculpture.
All right.
Let's just go for it, right?
What's in the background of it?
Supposedly a Vril lizard.
Oh yeah.
Wrapped up in bandages and everything.
That's a Vril
This
lizard.
is it. Yeah.
Yep.
1 second. I'll pull it up.
I think it's just a sculpture, seeing as the guy is a
Blow it up.
not that thing, the thing in the back.
Yeah. Right. There's a
They
thing in the
say-
background. There's
He's
Salvador
holding up-
Dali. He's holding up like looks like a dead bat.
Yeah, but they're
Um,
talking about the
And then in the background, there's what looks like a mummy.
It looks like
Yeah.
a cartoonish
It looks-
1950s
Exactly,
mummy, though.
exactly.
Like, yeah.
It looks like a mummy from the original Mummy film.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
now this just says word for word. Dali was well known for bizarre, arresting artwork and public stunts. However, one can only wonder as to the message delivered in this disturbing photograph. What does it all mean? Is it possible this shows the artist with the discarded remains of a Vril lizard.
Oh, and that was what he was supposed to be holding?
No, I think,
the discarded remains of a Vril lizard.
Like,
so
that's
it's
the
supposed to be
background.
what he's holding.
Right.
So that's not very big.
No, it's a tiny. That's why they respect
So-
humans.
Let's assume that is. Let's just pretend for fun's sake that is the discarded remains of a Vril lizard.
Okay.
They're fucking small. No
They're
wonder
tiny.
they can't overthrow us.
I could kick that
Yeah.
thing.
It appears to me that why they don't overthrow us is because they're small, and also, like they said in the celebrations, they essentially steal somebody and then tie them up, and then they do the body snatching lizard
So they
thing.
need somebody to like tie him
So
up
I think
first.
they need somebody to hold the person down.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let's jump back to that process a little bit, okay? The process begins when the lizard ejects its quill.
Which is like the cum.
Yeah, it just so happens to also be a sticky material
Oh.
A sticky white substance known as the quill.
containing the
Okay.
brain and spinal cord for proboscis.
Huh,
at the
you know
top
what
of its
you know
head,
what
right?
semen looks like? A brain and spinal cord.
Okay.
Bingo. Dan hit the nail right on the head.
Okay.
So these beings, okay? Let's just pretend for a second that they are in fact real. There's a few things that some people consider proof, okay? The
Mhm.
first one was what I just showed you, the
The
Salvador
Salvador
Dali
Dali.
photo.
Right.
Okay.
Proof.
Yeah, makes sense.
proof, quote unquote proof.
Yep.
They talk about how this specimen that he had resembles a dead carcass of a kind of a ray, like a
Yeah.
stingray or that kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
So it could look something like that. Occasionally, Donald Marshall says that the carcass of a dead Vril is discovered, usually in some isolated area.
I would
As-
like to say really quick, we just got an outside source saying that is a stingray that Dolly is holding.
Oh, it's in fact 100% a stingray?
Yep.
Exactly.
Outside source.
As we had to say earlier, that it is most definitely
It's
not
definitely
the
a
dead
stingray.
Vril
Yeah.
lizard. But I'm just going over the so-called proof that has
Yeah.
been,
Right.
Yep.
published for the people, right?
Okay.
So just on top of that, where was the other one that I just had? It appears that there is much lack of physical evidence.
Really?
Yeah, you don't say. Right.
What?
So now the way this all turns,
shocked.
the way this all connects with the clones is that, from my understanding, essentially, we talked about the Illuminati a lot last week.
Quite a
Like we
bit.
said, the Illuminati essentially befriended these Vril lizards, and
Yes.
now they're part of a bigger umbrella
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that's trying to get control of everything in the world. So these lizards, these Illuminati, and also the
Scientologist.
Scientologists,
Yep.
right?
Everybody's all here.
They're all teamed up to essentially take over the world in as many areas as they can. So you have the clones with REM cloning and things like that.
Okay.
You have the Vril lizards and Scientologist cult. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's pretty
All right.
simple there. But from my real understanding, it appears that this is all just complete bullshit.
What?
and that
No.
this guy likes this Vril book that this guy wrote in
I think
1871 or
I think
whatever it
Hitler
was.
did read it.
Yeah.
That's true.
And it would make sense that if
Hitler would read a book called The Coming Race and then go on to you know,
Exactly.
Yeah.
do what
Exactly.
Hitler did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
so the cloning stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's outrageous, right?
Yeah.
It's a little
But it
kooky.
at least makes
What?
Some sense.
you can put it into order.
comparison.
You can put it
Right.
into order and
You can
and
tell a
make
story.
sense of it and tell a
Yeah.
story in that direction. This Vril stuff is just complete nonsense.
It's very
all
hard
over
to
the place.
understand.
It goes from
I need to read more about these Tibetan llamas.
and that's the thing is that,
That are helping
just
with
when you're starting to
lizard.
get to the interesting part like that, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, and that was it. And that's all you need to know about that.
I want to know more about the evidence of these Vril being prehistoric. Like, I'm very curious about their evidence of them
Let's see
existing
if I
that
can
long.
let's see if I can find some more stuff real
I mean,
fast.
My natural thought about that would be that they somehow survived mass extinction and they just continued to advance into tiny little
Lizard people.
kind of
Now-
like how.
But like, how do we know
chickens-
they've been around that long? Are they telling us
And
that?
lizard people could have existed at some point, you know? I just have
What?
a real hard time believing
what?
that
Yeah,
What
yeah.
did you just say?
they could have existed at some point.
Okay.
Prehistoric era.
I guess.
Not literal lizard,
I mean, I
like
guess.
intelligent human beings, but you could have.
I guess in the same sense that anything we doesn't know
Lizards.
that existed.
We have no
could have
idea.
existed.
Lizards have existed.
know?
Is that what?
I mean,
Maybe
dolphin
there were-
people
maybe
could
there
have
were-
existed.
Damn, dude.
And they could have been fucking making everybody give them hand
My
jobs.
point is, we all look at these
Dolphins are
creatures.
in on
We
it.
all look at these creatures around our planet and think that's normal looking.
Right.
But imagine if you were like an alien and you looked at a dolphin. What's the weirdest creature you can think of?
Dolphins are fucking weird.
No, but like looking. I think turtles look fucking
weirdest.
weird.
Pugs are pretty weird.
Pugs
Ooh,
are pretty
damn.
fucking weird.
Pugs
Yeah,
are look freaky looking things.
That's true.
Dude, goblin sharks.
Oh, yep,
That's
That
a good
is-
one.
yep.
That's a real good one.
Chameleon.
So now, do you want to take a little bit of a side route into this body snatching and talk about microchip heads? You want to cover
I've
that?
read a little bit about.
Do we want to save that
Microchip
for
heads
part
and
Or do
dead
we
three?
want
chips.
to? Do we want to just?
I think we. How much do dead chips relate to what we're talking about in microchip?
In
heads?
terms of body snatching?
Yeah. Should we
That's-
just save body snatching for part 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, the Vril Society makes a good part too.
I still have a few more things I want to cover.
Yeah, let's
though.
just
Not
keep
very
it
much, but I'm
let's
gonna
keep it to
wrap things
Vril,
up
and
here.
then we'll work on microchip heads
Okay,
and body
because
snatching for
the
part
body
3.
snatching and the microchip heads turn. They kind of combine a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay.
So
We'll say body snatching then.
let's just say that these lizard peoples exist, right? There are
Mhm.
ancient stone statues in this island called Nuku Hiva, in French Polynesia. See if you can find some pictures of that. NUKU space HIVA.
Nuka Viva.
Nuku Hiva.
Wait, what is this?
There are stone statues. I'm gonna see if we
Okay.
can find some pictures of them.
Yeah.
Disproportionately elongated heads, wide mouths, and huge eyes. They've caused some people
That's
to
not it.
speculate whether or not they're
Is
a
that it?
representation of.
No.
Well,
These are
that
stone
might be the island.
statues.
Yeah,
Dude, those statues look weird. Some bug-eyed looking.
yeah,
Oh, here we go.
There.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, yeah, let me throw this up.
yeah. Accidentally close.
Some like crazy bug-eyed looking alien statues. So wait, is this supposed to be
Yes,
some
that's
type
it.
of
That's
proof?
it.
They're terrifying looking.
Well, it's not necessarily proof.
Okay. Who made these?
It's not necessarily proof, but it is one of the conspiracy theories thoughts.
okay.
You know
And that this is supposed
that
to
these
These are
could
lizard
be
people?
These are
could
Vril.
be
Villagers.
interpretation of
Vril
the
Lizards.
villagers. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So let's go on and say these Vril lizards have coexisted with humans since
Yes.
ancient times. We've discovered
we've
that, right?
well established that. Yeah.
Okay.
In the past, they were either seen depending on who you talk to. I'm sure if you were out walking in the street, saw a Vril lizard, somebody would either say, "Wow, that's a god," and worship them, or they would say that's a fucking demon.
Murder
And
it.
murder
away
it.
from
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Right? They played many different roles in the history of mankind, have been called many different things: demons, demigods, guardians, or even, unfortunately, distant ancestors. People think they are.
What?
Wait, what? They
Yeah.
think like we're descended from the Vril?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know all
Which-
the similarities we have with lizards.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
sure.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
People are born with tails.
And also, like,
Soaring
another problem I have with this,
Yep.
if the Vril are so fucking intelligent and
Right.
can do all of this
Why do they
crazy
like
shit,
us so
why
much?
do they want to be us? We
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Yeah.
yeah.
We're
Well,
like,
I mean, you
we're-
know,
I mean,
we
we can
went to
start a
space.
fire and cook food and go to the moon once in
We can
in
smush
60
them.
years.
Yep.
we can.
That's what
Yeah,
they
they look
want.
tiny.
What if they were actually that big, though?
What is
They have big old fucking heads in that.
what is that fetish of being like smushed or crushed by a very large woman? Because
I
it's a
have no
thing,
idea.
and I think they have it.
I have no
You
idea.
heard it first, Vriller into whatever that big.
crush fetish?
There you go.
Is that actually the name of
That's
it?
what came up
Vril
when I
have
looked it
into
up.
a-
Yeah.
are into a
So
crush
these Vril,
fetish.
you know, they come into contact with very few humans throughout the years. They
Yeah.
don't want to be known by the general public or anything
Right.
like that. So they use the protection of several generations of royal families.
Okay.
Which is who
Like
we
Queen Elizabeth.
discussed
Right.
last time. She may have had a Vril house pet or something like that.
Probably
right?
did. She probably called it Peter and jerked it off.
Yep.
Also, privileged politicians, spiritual leaders such as the lamas, they agree to assist these lizard. It keeps calling them just lizards,
Right.
but they're
Lizard
lizard people,
people.
I guess.
They're villagers.
Really.
So then we have their ability to body snatch took on sort of a spiritual significance, and in ancient times it was seen as sort of like a divine transformation
Okay.
of yourself. So for these people that worship the Vril Lizards as gods, they thought, wow, I'm becoming a vessel for this god to speak or live through me or something like that. There were also attempts of Vril infestation, building of housing structures high on cliffs, as is the case in the Anasazi Indians of New Mexico. So they've already came all the way over to New Mexico, and they're native to America too.
Such a shitty state.
Yeah. And to be honest,
Strong feelings about New Mexico. Damn.
another thing, the bubonic plague may have been caused by Vril lizards.
Why?
Were they like little fleas? Are they that small?
No, like they caused
They
it to
just-
wipe out society.
I guess so, dude. Like I said, the vast majority of the information I've gathered is
That could have
completely
been-
nonsense.
Now is and
Okay, the bubonic plague makes makes your lymph nodes turn into giant black balloons and you like bleed and pus everywhere, right?
See those
Those
things
were-
on top of their
Absolutely.
heads?
Those were eating people.
Yep,
And
Right.
they fucking made them all gnarly. Why wouldn't they just eat them?
pretty much.
Why would they give them such a gross plague that people like? I wouldn't want to eat a plague person.
Maybe it's a delicacy.
Maybe.
Those giant black
Kinda like
swollen
veal.
lymph nodes. Mm,
So in the end, it appears that
this grossed
the
myself
Vril
out.
lizards are just another way for these people at the top to control the rest
right,
of us.
like they're
right?
working with the other people at
Yes,
the top, like
yes,
the Illuminati,
but-
the Scientologists, the Vril.
Donnie Marshall.
Donnie.
Now
Good old
remember,
Donnie, our
Donnie.
boy.
now remember, he's a clone. Okay,
Mhm.
course
Of
he
course.
says he says
Yep.
he's a clone, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not sure he entirely agrees with these Vril Lizard statements. I don't know if he's entirely convinced that they're a part of all of this. This is just something that's encapsulated essentially
Well,
in the rest
Didn't
of
he
his.
say he's seen the body
I
snatching
do-
ceremony
Yeah,
multiple
but
times?
I mean, he doesn't believe like certain aspects of it.
He does definitely believe this.
Okay.
I have a quote here.
Let's hear it.
I've written about this before and I will say it again. The German Vril Society did not invent saucers. They back engineered them from Atlantean designs they found underground.
Oh yeah.
So this is where the Vril really tie in. Okay, they're used as people to just overtake the world, and in return for them getting places of power in
Mhm.
our society, our governments and the world leaders and the Illuminati and all that get access to these Atlantean technologies that Dan talks about. But Donnie Marshall says the Vril aren't gods, demons, or monsters.
Okay.
They're just
What
a
are
bunch
they?
of stinky lizards.
Damn.
They bleed red and die.
Fuck yeah, Donnie.
Those are
What a-
some strong
Yeah.
Those
words.
are some strong words and a
Shit.
good place to, I think, end the
Fuck
Vril.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
We don't ever need to talk
So
about that again.
Well, is the
Oh
Vril
my
does the
God.
Vril tie into the body snatching at all?
I think maybe a little bit, but I just
Well,
don't want to think.
I'll let
about
you guys
that
know right
anymore.
now. On the next episode, we will touch on body snatching and how this relates to
Mhm.
Donald Marshall. But before we wrap it up, I just want to give everybody an update on Donnie Marshall's Twitter, as
Oh,
we
yeah,
as
I'm
we are
looking
one to
forward to
do. You want me to
this.
throw it up on here?
Please.
It's a lot of just evening,
oh my.
good night,
Shite.
good evening, all. But then he's got one about Clara Delvine, who we were
Oh.
just talking about. She's made a new jewelry. Wait.
Oh my
She has
God.
new jewelry, and she has an 8-pointed star symbol, which I guess is the symbol of the
Did you read what was in
clones.
parentheses?
And then in the parentheses it says Meteric cloning.
So straight
And they
up.
released it on his
That's awesome.
birthday.
Yep.
Just for you.
Yep. And they released that jewelry on his birthday. So she's a clone too,
Man.
apparently.
Makes
They're
sense.
all
Um,
clones.
Makes sense.
It's just a lot of normal
So-
Clones are
tweets,
lizard
honestly,
people.
Let me
done.
just- Let's just go around the table real fast. Pick one person that you think is most likely actually a lizard person in disguise.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Wow.
I do. She is I appreciate her and a lot of things she does, but she is one of the most unhuman people I've
You're
experienced.
not wrong.
Yeah.
That was immediate.
That was quick.
Yeah.
She knew.
There was
She knew.
I've thought
When
it.
I think of a
Have
lizard,
you
I
seen
think
her?
of
Have
Hillary
you
Clinton.
seen her emote? She always
That's
has
a good
to like
one.
think about it for a minute
fair.
and be like, "This is human."
That's fair.
Smile
Mark
now for
Zuckerberg.
people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Sweet baby Ray's. Sweet baby Ray's. Have you seen that video of him saying "Sweet baby Ray's" over and over again?
Mark Zuckerberg? No.
Oh my god.
So
I think he's a
Yep,
lizard
I
could
person.
see
He's a
that.
clone or a lizard person.
Who's your person?
Oh man. Honestly, my immediate thought went to Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
he's a
that's fair.
Scientologist.
I know, man.
That's fair.
He's just
Maybe he's
looking
their
for a
inside
circle.
man into the Scientology, huh?
Mhm.
I mean, I that's not something you get out of. Dude, Scientology scares me so much.
Nope.
What about you, Connor?
David Bowie.
Oh,
You shut your mouth.
Paige is a
Take it back.
massive
I only,
David Bowie
I only
fan.
said that because we talked about that song earlier.
All right. Well, I guess that's going to conclude this segment of Connor's Conspiracy Corner.
It
This
was
is
a mess.
That
part
was
2 of Donald Marshall, part 2 of 3, right?
Yeah.
We're going to end it
maybe
on
4, 5,
maybe
6.
4, 5, who knows?
I feel like I need to research this more, but I don't want this in my Google history. Like I don't want the
Very
shit that's
fair.
gonna pop up from it.
But yeah, that's where we're going to wrap up the podcast, guys. We will continue this on the next episode, episode 7, where we will be talking about body snatching as well as next month's
Also,
funniest news.
microchip heads.
Microchip heads, dead heads, all of it.
It's like worse than the. It's just.
I want a
keeps getting-
fucking T-shirt that
keeps
says
getting
"Deadheads"
deeper.
with
It
like a
just
dead
keeps
microchip in
getting-
someone's brain. I kind of love
Ooh,
that.
that's got to be a shirt on the
I
merch
fucking
store.
love that.
It just
Oh,
keeps getting
man.
dumber.
Yeah, it keeps getting dumber, honestly. And I would like to, before we go, last time.
Don't engage.
No, I'm going to engage. We got some really, really mean comments. Some of them I'm not going to read, but one of them I'm going to read. Notice how they did not go further on the Vril Society.
Here you go. Here you
Bitch,
go.
eat it.
Now,
We're right
Talking
fucking
all
here.
about the Villagers.
for those who watch this video after we post it on YouTube, please educate us.
Yeah.
Help us make sense out of this
Listen.
complete
No,
bullshit.
I don't. Fucking
We're not
wanna
a part
know.
of it.
Educate.
We're not a part of it. We're not a part of this
I'm not
Vril
engaging.
Society. We're not lizard people yet. Come on,
Until they-
guys, save us. Some of the comments went on to say, Donald, this is Astro Genius, said, Donald may or may not be telling the truth. The world will never know. And you know what? Maybe. Well,
I
we
feel
have
like
no proof
the
at all.
world knows.
However,
though.
Probably.
didn't they respond to that?
Idea.
No, they did not respond to that.
Who was the one that responded to their own comment, like backtracking what they had just said?
One person named Quiet Bunny, which is a very nice comment. I will say this is one of the nicest
Yeah.
comment. Just to let you know, Donald Marshall has made no money, which is something we weren't sure about last time. So maybe this is true. Maybe made no money off of any of the stuff he's talked about. Also, from what I know, he really doesn't like the public attention or spotlight. This is something this man truly believes. He's telling.
Which I think
Is he telling the
does
truth
really
or
believe.
mentally ill? It seems to me, the more I dig into this subject, looks like Donald Marshall's becoming more and more credible.
See, that's not what I would
Yada,
say.
yada,
though.
yada. She then goes on to comment later, it's true. Sorry, but it's very true. Earlier, she was saying it
Now
may or may
look.
not be true.
Did
Donald
she
Marshall
found
tells
out,
the
though?
truth. The truth is stranger than fiction.
No.
I think
Oh,
we've stressed
Jesus.
at every point. We are not.
But that was a very
trying
nice
to
comment from
rag
Quiet Bunny.
on Donald Marshall.
Not,
himself.
no,
No.
We are
no.
trying to present his evidence
As in his own words,
in his own words, We're
as
not
best we
changing
can
anything
possibly understand it.
because we think it's interesting.
Yeah. And we'll be continuing talking about some more Donald Marshall. So
Yeah.
thank you guys for the comments and thanks for watching the video. Let's, get off that thumbs down button a little bit though.